2-acre parcel addressed as 1400 Caldwell Boulevard for Lowe's Nampa. Is the applicant here? Go ahead and come on up.
Good evening, Commissioners. Brandon McDougald with Kimley Horn Associates. Address is 1100 West Idaho Street in Boise, Idaho. Thank you for your time this evening. Make sure that this works. Great. Here, as part of the applicant team, we have myself, and then we also have KK Yao with Lowe's. So if you have any specific questions for Lowe's, we've got a representative here. Just to narrow in on the site that we're going to be talking about today. So there's an existing Lowe's that's adjacent or to the intersection of Karcher and Cleveland Boulevard. And just a higher elevation of the plan, including the Lowe's parcel here. So why we're before you tonight is we're here tonight in response to a code enforcement complaint Lowe's received regarding their outdoor storage and display, which has been occurring in various levels since the store was opened in actually it was 2003. And that's, we're asking for a conditional use permit for nursery and storage not entirely enclosed within a building and inventory not stored behind a building or a fenced area. I've got a couple of slides here that just show what that has looked like over the years and have highlighted in red those areas that have been storage or seasonal sales areas. So this is a slide for 2016. Another slide for 2019. 2021 have quite a bit more storage and can talk through that a little bit. And 2024. So wanted to just talk through maybe some of the observations, and we can slide back and forth between the various slides if you have any questions there. But we think it's important to highlight some of the general observations. It's obvious that the outdoor storage and sale has increased over the years, and especially after COVID, and there's a lot of reasons behind that. Some of that is just large part due to the shipping and receiving volatility that they experienced and wide range of customer and industry demands, and just honestly some general housekeeping that needed to be corrected. So outdoor storage display has increased on site, as you saw over the years. Maybe if I just go back to one slide, if you just note the parking that is being used for the Lowe's, and we can go through each of the various slides there, but you can see that there's plenty of parking for the customers.
Mr. Chair, excuse me, on this slide right here is what time of the year was this?
Good question. Yeah, so it's green trees, and so I think we're somewhere in the summer time frame. Yep.
It's probably the height of what you would have
outdoor seasonal sales. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Great question. And as indicated previously, the seasonal sales have taken place for since the inception of that store. So you might ask just what does the out storage and seasonal sales make up? So there's cell trailers and shed displays that you normally see in a home improvement area for sale, metal fencing, overflow inventory, shelving, seasonal merchandise displays, overflow of garden setting materials, and bulk lumber. Seasonal sales is pretty important to Lowe's. It's I'm sure that y'all have been a customer to a home improvement store and have utilized maybe some of that outdoor storage and looked at outdoor seasonal sales. So it's pretty important for the Lowe's business to keep moving forward. We've worked with city staff to one, identify areas that Lowe's can comply with from a outdoor storage and sales area, and we've color coded it based on a variety of different uses. So as you can see here on the screen, in yellow, we've got outdoor storage retail, and that usually consists of lawnmowers and grills, and maybe in the winter months you might see some snow blowers and whatnot out there. In the red, or excuse me, in the orange is outdoor storage bulky retail. So you've got a lot of, it could be bagged topsoil, it could be mulch, it could be a variety of those type of things, including sheds. If you look at the blue outline of some of those colors, especially on the orange areas, that is truly seasonal. So that's generally through spring and fall that you see that storage out there. To the left, southwest corner of the site, there are some trailer sales areas. And then the red is just general storage of bulky material. And as you can see from the parking calculation, I think what is also reflected in the staff report, that there's adequate parking for customers in addition to the storage that's identified on here. I know that Lowe's has complied and started to really enforce this moving forward, and that would be the point going forward, is have this to where they know this is the areas that they can have outdoor storage and sales. So request your approval of the conditional use permit, and KK and myself are here to stand for any questions that you may have.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Sir, many years ago, I spent 20 years in the retail industry. And I loved it except working at night, but unfortunately, that's part of the deal. The question is, they never used to do this kind of stuff in the past, so are you trying to increase efficiency, profits, by getting large bulk shipments rather than getting a tractor trailer once every 2 weeks with unloading? You're trying to get all the stuff on hand in one time to save costs. Is that the main purpose of why you're doing this?
And KK might be better to answer that question, but specifically regarding the seasonal sales, that's just another place that is needed in order to provide that amount of material. So it's pretty challenging to keep all of that material during the seasonal times enclosed within the
What I'm
building.
saying is 40 years ago, we didn't do this, or you didn't do this. So why are you doing it now and you didn't have to do it in the past? And I assumed it was more profitable to get a tractor trailer load of fertilizer rather than getting a 2-week supply every 2 weeks you got to pay shipping costs over and over again. So there's a financial benefit to you guys to do it this way.
Okay, do you want to address that, KK?
My name is KK Yao. I'm the construction manager for Lowe's. And that's a good question. I think Lowe's typically is always looking for a way to make it efficient. I think main of the reasons because of the demands, the sales and the demands. Typically in the spring times, there are a lot of demands from the customer for the products. As I walk through the parking lot, when I see mulch, I see different type of mulch, and it's a bunch of them. Pot soils and things like that, different type, different brand. And to answer the questions, Lowe's is always looking for a way to improve efficiency and trying to upkeep. And I would say that typically for the parking, we are not looking for anything like permanent. And this is pretty much is a more temporary basis. We're trying to turn over the products as soon as possible in the most efficient way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, can we go back to your site plan, Brandon?
Yeah.
Proposed, I suppose, yeah.
Yep.
So I remember in the staff report, there was talk about how much of Lowe's is bulk retail and how much of it is general retail. What does this parking calculation consider all of the existing in, like, the building? Is that all bulk or general, or did you split it half and half?
So yeah, I think staff took a little different approach where I think 50% of it was bulky retail, the other 50% was general retail. We in this calculation, we actually included that bulky retail that is outside of the building and included that in the parking. So
Right.
there's parking that's required as a result of that that bulky retail outside. And so, so I think we took a slightly different approach to this, but it looks like it is fairly similar to what staff had pulled together as well. In both instances, the site's overparked.
So you're considering the entire building as bulky retail? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yes. Yeah.
That's my question, yeah.
Thank you. We'll call you back up in a little bit. Okay, Christy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Christy Watkins. I'm the principal planner for the City of Nampa. As stated, this is a conditional use permit to allow non-enclosed storage for nursery and outdoor items for sale. The property is zoned BC, and it is surrounded by properties that are zoned BC. There is some industrial to the northeast. This stems from a violation letter that went out last year, and as we've talked about in the past, we now have staff to be able to go and do some of these kinds of things. As you know, we've had a number of these large retailers come in and ask for these kinds of conditional use permits because I like the term general housekeeping. That's a really great term. I think we just need to try to get some of these parking lots in a more organized fashion. And so our code enforcement, code compliance people in the building department are helping us do that. So last year they were sent a violation letter. In code 1016, it requires that any exterior storage in front of the principal use requires a conditional use permit. And so that's what we're talking about, is the stuff that they want to put in front of the building. That's the stuff that's right up against it and out in the parking lot. Through our comprehensive plan, we have determined that it is in the public interest to provide a variety of commercial business types within our confines. Expressions of that policy are published in the comprehensive plan, as well as embodied in the decisions that you've made on similar applications up to this point. These are some photos, like we've talked about, it ebbs and flows. It goes with the season. So in April of this year, the majority of that side of the parking lot was taken up with those bulky items, and these are just a few of those pictures that have kind of caused, using up of required parking spaces by our code. Let's see. Thought I had some other ones in there, but anyway, you talked about the parking calculations. In April, sorry, that should be 2003, not 2023. In April of 2003, the approved building permit provided a breakdown that was based on one calculation, which was the gross size of the building for retail. And it came out to like 509 spaces or something like that. Over time, that parking has changed. So it's been restriped, it's been maintained and taken care of, and it has gone down in the number of spaces. So the current parking layout provides 552 regular spaces, which includes 4 ADA spaces. So that's actually 548 regular spaces. And it was calculated based on just this general retail parking, which is the amount of square footage divided by 250 square feet. So that's 539 spaces. The ADA spaces required by code, ADA codes, is 2% of that once you exceed 500, and so that's 11 spaces. Total spaces required are 550. So if you look at it from that perspective, they're only overparked by 2 spaces, right? And so all of this stuff is taking up those spaces. However, a large home goods warehouse store also provides bulky items, not just small general retail items. So they provide lumber, large appliances, carpet, yard equipment, and those kinds of supplies. So if you were to consider different square footages, part of it being bulky, part of it being general retail, then you could decrease the amount of parking that would be necessary. And there's a number of different ways to skin that cat. You could talk about the storage space that doesn't require any parking because it's not occupied by anybody. So you could calculate that a number of different ways. Ultimately, as he stated, I think if we were to look at it as half retail and half bulky, they're overparked by 100 and some spaces, give or take. So it's really your call to determine whether or not you feel like the areas that they have delineated on their site plan is appropriate. So as far as correspondence is concerned, we did receive one late comment that you were forwarded, I believe, on Friday. The adjacent property owner was citing the CC&Rs for the development. This goes back to your original conversation about HOAs. The CCRs do not allow for exterior storage or display of items for sale. The city does not govern CC&Rs, and so if they don't have a board that is enforcing those regulations, we still need to follow our guidelines. The building department talked about how the ADA spaces have kind of gone away over time due to restriping, so they'll need to put those back so that they have the 11 ADA spaces that are required by code. And then the Nampa Fire District also has talked about leaving unobstructed widths so that they have vertical clearance. This is a very large building, and they have to get their ladder trucks and their bucket truck over the top of that building. And so we need to make sure that whatever is stored right immediately in front of the building does not obstruct the width that they would need to be able to access that should something happen.
Mr. Chair, I got a quick question for Christy. The violation letter that went to Lowe's, did one of the reasons for the violation include was there some obstruction with the fire lane? Or was it just a general violation of?
Commissioner Kirkman, the violation letter that went out was just a violation of that 1016, which is the storage in front of the
It had
building.
nothing to do with there wasn't an issue. This is just the fire department saying, make sure.
Make sure.
You continue
to make
okay.
sure. Yeah, and that's one of the things that going forward, now that we've got this enforcement arm, the fire department's going to be involved in some of that.
Yeah.
And making sure that those areas are stayed open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they have the ability, does the fire department have the ability to issue their own violation if they come across an obstruction in the pathway do they have the ability to do that?
Commissioner Kirkman, they absolutely
Okay.
do. Again, it comes down to personnel and the time to go out and look for those kinds of things. They have other things that they're doing, and so
Yeah,
they don't
I would
often
hope
get
so,
out there
yeah.
and look for that. So
Wait to get back to the city and go through all that paperwork and everything. Thank you.
yes.
Well, since we've already interrupted, can I? Is it 9 accessible, 2 of which are van accessible, or is it 9 accessible plus 2 van accessible?
Oh, yeah, you're doing math up there.
Oh, that's a hard math right there, too.
Yeah, it says furthermore, 2 spaces shall be van accessible.
So
So
it's
I
two
would,
of the 9?
I would say 9 accessible spaces and then 2 additional van accessible spaces.
Well, and on the previous screen, it did have 11
Well,
ADA
it had two-
spaces.
It's one condition. One time the math said 11 and one time it said 9, so.
Good catch.
Again, it depends on how you're looking at the square footage inside the building. If we had
How
a
are
floor
you looking
plan.
at?
Well,
You wrote this condition, how were you looking at it?
yeah, so if, well, I didn't write this particular one, the building department did, but I gave them the numbers based on 50% retail, general retail, and 50% bulky.
So that
Only
would be-
because I don't have a floor plan of what's being sold inside the building, so it's hard for me to come up with exact numbers.
So it'd be 9 total.
Well, I'm reading that as 11, but,
Okay. Just wondering.
okay. Anyway, these are the conditions of approval, should you choose to approve this. The applicable regulations are the criteria that you need to find that support this when this was submitted. There's still 5 criteria at the time that this application was submitted. We're now down to 4, but there's still the original 5. The proposed findings for approval. This property is supported in its commercial designation in the comp plan and is zoned BC. The comprehensive plan designates this area as commercial, and so it meets that. The parking will be provided as required for commercial units as defined in 1022-6B and Table 11061 for accessible ADA spaces. The utilities have capacity to serve this development. Police and fire serve this property. It is located in a zoning district where exterior storage is allowed with an approved conditional use permit. The proposed area for display expands on the current use, allowing for more inventory for Nampa's growing population. The proposed exterior storage and display of goods will only be expanding on the current use. The site plan indicates areas of outside display that do not conflict with the required amount of parking that was approved by the original building permit. These are the potential motions, and I will stand for any questions.
Any others? Or we have already asked them right now?
I got another one.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
On similar applications, just because my memory is poor, was there this magnitude of just general storage not intended for retail? You understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, Commissioner
red
Morgan.
stuff.
Yes. Yes, one other retailer, similar to this one, is the reason that the violations began.
Right.
And they've since removed, the stuff that was against our code, but yes.
Okay. Because in my mind, there's a difference between the retail, the stuff that's intended for retail and the stuff that's just bulk storage for, for processing.
And I think it's kind of hard to determine if, those large bags of mulch are actually like somebody can walk out there with their cart and grab it
Fair
and put
enough.
it on their
Yeah.
cart, right? Or if they're actually going out there and restocking the stuff inside the nursery with the stuff that's sitting out there.
But it's still
I think
all,
it's a little bit of both.
but it's still all for retail, though.
Ultimately,
At some point, they're going to sell it.
Well,
That's the whole
but there's a
intention.
difference between whether the customer goes and picks it up or if it's just sitting there on pallets until they can get it in the store. To me, it is. But I guess my point is, on the previous applications, was there as much red, what we have as red today as there is today? That make sense?
Commissioner
The
Morgan,
original
I think they're pretty even.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Comparable. I just couldn't remember.
And the original permit, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I'm just picking
You're
up
good.
Morgan here. The original permit, was that back in 2003?
Yes.
So it just seems, I don't know. Sometimes when I'm listening to all this, first of all, I get lost in the numbers when I'm reading through all these numbers and everything. But then I'm thinking, it almost is like we're splitting hairs a little bit. I mean, the 2003 permit that was issued at that time, over 25 years ago, and the growth in this city and probably the growth in that particular store in that location has necessitated more product to be stored. And so I don't know that comparing 2003 permit with today's permit would even be.
Well, Commissioner Kirkman, I would argue that parking is also necessary for the more
Sure.
customers that need to be coming to the store.
Has there been any complaints about not having enough parking? we know?
Not
I
to
mean-
my department.
But that wasn't part of this complaint or the violation saying, hey, you don't have enough parking, because we're getting complaints from people who say, look, I got to park on the boulevard in order to go into Lowe's.
Correct.
It
Commissioner
just seems
Kirkman.
like people park there when there's, so
They're,
much
they're
traffic.
they're violating storage in front of the store that thereby is taking up required parking spaces.
In case they need it. No, and I get that concept. I get it.
And the building permit was for the building and the number of parking in the lot. It didn't really have anything to do with outdoor storage.
Storage, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not arguing about the code or, that kind of stuff, but, I don't know, I've been going back and forth on this because I'm trying to figure out that sometimes it just seems like anyways, I'll be quiet, listen to others. Maybe someone else can help me figure it out.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'll give it a stab. Christie, should we have a new code submitted and approved or not approved? Or these, because let's say 20 years ago, we didn't have these problems. And now almost all the big box stores are doing the same thing. But we haven't really addressed it in code, have we? We're still talking about a code from 2003, and the problem didn't exist in 2003.
Commissioner Kehoe, that is certainly something that we can discuss at a workshop when we're doing code changes. I think that large box stores like this, if they're going to be doing this, need to prepare for it, right? They need to be able to
We have to give them
provide
the
the amount
guidance how
of
to prepare for
parking
it.
that is required, and then they need to be able to provide an area for storage or
Yeah.
outside display that's not taking up required parking.
I agree. I think it looks better if it's all consolidated rather than spread out all over the parking lot. And I don't understand why the stuff doesn't get stolen more frequently than it does, because it's just sits out there 24 hours a day, and, what's to prevent somebody, but it's their business, and if they're happy with that, that's okay by me. But I think we ought to have some guidance for them as to how to take care of this excess material. And I understand they got to make a profit, so I can understand they bring in 2 flatbed loads of fertilizer, even though they're not going to sell them for 6 months, but
Well, the reason we're here is because it's a code violation, so it is in the code.
well, that's the ADA code we're talking about, though, Marty, isn't it?
No, because they're asking for a conditional use permit to allow them to do this non-enclosed storage, because otherwise that's against the code, to have outdoor storage, outdoor display of
Yeah,
goods,
you're right. We need to change that. I think we need to change it,
to not allow it, or to allow it.
to allow it.
Oh, okay. That's for another day.
When I go to the store, I don't want to drive the prices up. I don't want to say Steve drove up the prices by not allowing it.
Okay, we good?
I'm good.
Yeah, my apologies. I interrupted you, Christie. What were you?
He's good.
Oh, you were done?
Don't even remember.
Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have a sign-up sheet?
No, we do not.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak for, against, or undecided on this item? Okay. Brandon, is there anything you'd like to add? Questions you'd like to answer?
Yeah, thank you. So just wanted to answer maybe a few of the questions that were raised. So we did see over there the CC&R letter that came through, and Lowe's wants to be a good neighbor, and we'll work with that neighbor to sort that out. So we'll just wanted to let you know that we'll investigate that. And then as it relates to the ADA spaces, we believe that there are 20 ADA spaces on site already, but we will certainly verify that. And regardless, we want to be in compliance from that perspective. So we'll make sure that we have at least the 11 that has been identified within the staff report.
2 of them have to be van accessible.
Yes, correct, yes. And in agreement with all the conditions of approval, so I just want to make sure that we clarified that as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Any other questions? Thank you.
thank you.
Take a motion to close public hearing.
Moved.
Second.
Been moved by Kehoe,
Kirkman.
second by Kirkman. To close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is closed.
You're invisible tonight.
What other discussion do we have?
I shop there a lot. In fact, I was there today, and I've never.
I didn't see you there today. I was there this morning.
Yeah,
I'm there about 8 times a day, so.
yeah. I've never ran into a problem with parking, and so I don't see any issue. I like getting it kind of cleaned up some, but which I think this kind of does. But I have no problem with it.
I agree. The only reason I think I even noticed the storage is because I actually drive behind that.
I do too. That's the way I get
But I
it.
never drive behind the oranger one, so it's just, it's more present, I guess. I just noticed it.
Blue and orange. Hey, BSU colors, huh?
Glad they're getting it cleaned up. Glad we got it.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Me too.
Me too. So if we're all in favor of it, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the project as stated on the screen.
Second.
It's been moved by Kehoe, second by Morgan, to approve the item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
See,
The CUP will become effective 15 calendar days from the date the written decision and reason statement is provided to the applicant unless an appeal has been filed with the Planning and Zoning Department with the appropriate fee. No action should be taken on this CUP until the appeal period has concluded. The applicant must confirm with the Planning and Zoning staff that there have been no appeals.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, next item, conditional use permit for firearm service in RS6 at 719 South Diamond Street for David James, the applicant here today.
David James, 719 South Diamond Street, Nampa. Whoever wrote this did a good job. It's succinct, it's accurate, and it explains it all. There's nothing really more to say. I simply want to store business records.
Anybody have questions?
No, but that's the best presentation I've heard.
Fantastic. Thank you. We'll call you back up later if we have any questions.
Okay.
Okay, Damian, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Damian Snodgrass, Associate Planner. The requested action item today is for a conditional use permit for firearms services. It's very similar to firearms sales. However, the applicant is retiring his firearm sales business, but is retaining his FFA license to sell firearms in order to keep the records of his sales. So there won't be actually any sales of firearms. He just wants to be able to retain those records within his home. Some of the property details: comp plan designation is medium density residential. Current zoning is RS6, surrounded by RS6 zoning in the Kurtz addition, and currently there is already services to the property. Here are the applicable regulations for a conditional use permit. We'll cover these in the findings. And here are the applicable regulations for a home occupation. This would still be subject to the home occupation permit. We received no agency comments for this application. Here are the proposed findings, that the proposed use is supported by the comprehensive plan, and staff found this to be not applicable. That the design, construction, operation, and maintenance of the property and project will not adversely impact the intended character and appearance of the general vicinity. No changes are being proposed to the outside of the home. The property will continue to operate as a single-family home, and its appearance will remain consistent with the neighboring and properties and single-family homes. The primary use will still be residential. All the standards of the home occupation shall be followed for the operation to be approved and continue to operate. And the home occupation standards outlined in 10-1-10.b were adopted in city code to ensure that home occupation businesses continue to maintain the residential character of properties. The third criteria is that the proposed use will be served adequately by essential and public facilities and services. The existing home is currently being served. And that the proposed use will not involve any activities or processes, materials, equipment, and conditions of operation that will be detrimental to any persons, property, or general welfare by reason of excess traffic, noise, smoke, fumes, glares, or odors. No changes are being proposed to the outside of the home, and as stated prior, the property will continue to operate as a single-family home, be following the home occupation guidelines, so on and so forth. And in conclusion, weighing all of these factors, staff has found that the criteria have been met for a conditional use permit. Here are the proposed conditions of approval. Number one, that compliance with all city codes, including City Ordinance Title IV building regulations and adopted state building code. That the conditional use permit shall be granted for the applicant and the location of the subject of this request and not be transferable to another person or location. And a home occupation permit must be completed with planning and zoning. These are highlighted in yellow. I forgot to add these within your guys' staff report. So bring them into the presentation now, as well as if this permit application were to ever change to the distribution or sales of firearms, they would have to go through the building department to meet current building code at the time. Here are your potential motions, and I will stand for any questions.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. And I know I'm running a little bit slow today, but I'm not quite understanding why there would be the need for a CUP to operate a home business when he is retiring, other than just to keep the records there. That's what he wants to do. Is that the home business?
So, yeah, since he's retaining his federal firearms license, he still has the ability to sell firearms.
Okay, so-
And to retain that, to retain the records, he has to retain that license.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I wanted to make it clear. Thank you.
So does that federal firearms license, does that have to accompany a business? Or can it accompany an individual? Maybe that's a question for the applicant. Because what I'm wondering the same thing. What triggered him to have to come do this if he explicitly says he's not having a business? This whole thing's about home occupation businesses.
Mr. Chair, I'll give it a shot, but I think the applicant is probably going to be more qualified to respond to those comments.
Way to kick it.
Those questions. I think that the main point here is that if you retire your business for firearm sales, you have to return all of the records to the federal government, right, when you retire that business.
Yeah.
But because he's committed to
Retaining those records.
he's committed to retain them to the people he sold the guns to, he needs to retain a business at his home. But he doesn't, I don't believe he has any intention of selling any more guns from his.
I'll ask when he gets up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, I mean, why would, and I appreciate the explanation, and it makes sense. I mean, business records, I get it. I just was thinking, why are we making them pay the fee for a CUP if it's not really necessary? All that kind of stuff.
Home
But
occupation license.
yeah, so yeah, but I appreciate the explanation.
So the theory is an FFL has to accompany a business. It can't just be a person.
I would turn to the applicant for that. We're not experts in that area.
You need a,
Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have a sign-up sheet? there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for, against, or undecided on this item? Okay, Mr. James, could we get you to come back up and answer a couple quick questions?
Okay.
Okay. We got,
You have to have a business to have an FFL?
No, you do not. An individual can do that, but all these records were obtained through a business that has two people listed as the responsible people, which is my wife and myself.
And so you're carrying on that business
Correct.
at your home?
Yes.
Okay,
That answers the question.
that makes more.
okay.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
No one?
Nope, pretty easy. Thank you.
Make a motion to close public hearing?
It's been.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. It's been moved by Morgan, seconded by Kehoe to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is closed.
And I just want to, I think you're on the same, Jeff's on the same side as me. The only reason I'm asking is because I hope we weren't putting him through something we didn't need to put him through, but
Yeah.
obviously I don't have an issue with what he wants to do. So, anybody?
No.
I move to approve the conditional use permit for firearm services in RS6 zoning district at 719 South Diamond Street for David James with recommended conditions and proposed findings.
Second that.
It's been moved by Morgan, seconded by Kirkman to approve this item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The CUP will become effective 15 calendar days from the date the written decision and reason statement is provided to the applicant unless an appeal has been filed with the Planning and Zoning Department with the appropriate fee. No action should be taken on the CUP until the appeal period has concluded. The applicant must confirm with the Planning and Zoning staff that there have been no appeals. Okay, next, conditional use permit for a commercial daycare in an RML zoning district at 504 East Florida Avenue for Crystal McFarland. Applicant here?
I think she's online.
Okay.
You don't look like a crystal to me.
I saw her
Yes.
pop up when we were starting.
Yeah, I think initially.
Crystal McFarland is, I think, wants to join by Zoom.
Yes.
Are you there?
I am here.
There she is.
That's the coolest looking.
Look at that. So I am, actually, I think you're at the Oregon coast, right?
Yes.
That's a for real backdrop?
No.
So Randy Hopkins here, live at 1390 East Mallory Lane in Meridian. And one of our real estate funds owns the Florida property, the subject property, and we are asking for this conditional use. Crystal impressed me with her organization, so she's made the application as the daycare that is now operating, TLC's operating by D&B, and that seller selling to someone else, and she has 55 parents right now, right? Something like that?
Oh, it'll drop down to about 35 here once school starts.
Moving. So then she's opening in Brightstone and moving into the building. So the simple request, it's been a daycare for years. This is the building behind Port of Hope on Florida. We're cleaning it up right now, just a new makeover, if you will, of painting and flooring and that kind of stuff to prepare for her, hoping that this is as systematic as, I guess, as it seems like the staff and everybody is saying it's the existing. It's been a daycare for years. We're just cleaning it up, excited about getting Crystal in the building. And that's the simple request, to continue the same use it's been, and we're just cleaning it up. We're excited. If you drive by, we've already got the landscaping of the whole property and the parking lot done and stuff. So I guess I'll defer to questions. It's that straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward.
Thank you. Wasn't as quick as the previous applicant. But
Yes, exactly. I'm trying, but I'm a Hopkins. So.
Okay, we'll
Thank
call
you.
you back up if we have questions. Okay, Damien, you're up again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Damien Snodgrass, Associate Planner. The requested action item is a conditional use permit for a commercial daycare in the RML zone over at 504 East Florida Ave. As stated previously, this has historically been a daycare. However, whenever the ownership changes, since the CUP does not transfer to a new owner or a new location, anybody else that comes through will also have to get a conditional use permit. So some of the property details: the comprehensive plan future land use map designates this as high-density residential. It is currently zoned as RML, multifamily residential limited. The surrounding land uses are single-family and multifamily, and as stated, historically a daycare, and there are already public utilities and services that serve this property. Here are the applicable regulations for a conditional use permit that we will cover in the findings. And the applicable regulation of 10-3-2, that a daycare does require a conditional use permit within the RML zone. So for correspondence, we received one comment from the building department that a building permit application must be filled out and submitted with a site plan showing the distances from lot lines and other adjacent buildings, and a floor plan, code analysis, and any changes that are made to the building will need to be shown on the plans, and it must meet current building code. Here are the proposed findings. First is that the proposed use is supported by the NAMPA Comprehensive Plan. Chapter 3.1.1 of the NAMPA 2040 Comprehensive Plan encourages land use development that reduces driving time to commercial services. The proposed use provides access to a daycare to the nearby residential properties. Chapter 5 of the NAMPA 2024 Comprehensive Plan, 2040 Comprehensive Plan encourages smart growth, avoids sprawl, and encourages the mixed use live-work environment. And the proposed daycare is consistent with the smart growth principle. 2, that the design, construction, operation, and maintenance of the property will not adversely impact the intended character and appearance of the general vicinity. The prior use of the building was a commercial daycare, and this use will not change. 3rd is that the proposed use will be served adequately by essential public facilities and services. The current property has access to services and will continue to be served. Number 4, that the proposed use will not involve any activities or processes, materials, and equipment and conditions of operation that will be detrimental to any persons, property, or general welfare by reason of excess traffic, noise, smoke, fumes, glares, or odors. Public facilities and utilities are already available, and daycares are allowed as by 10-3.2, and the current use is not changing. Conclusion, considering all the facts, staff has found that the criteria for a conditional use permit has to be met, and that is just supported by the comprehensive plan. The use isn't changing, and the business will not adversely impact the intended character of the vicinity due to that. Extra slide. My
You're going to have
apologies.
firearms at this daycare?
My apologies, I had some extra slides in there. Here are your potential motions, and I will stand for any questions.
Questions? No? Okay. Madam Clerk, do we have a sign-up sheet? Okay. Is there anybody who would like to speak for, against, or undecided on this item? Want the applicant back up?
I don't have any questions for the applicant.
Anything
I
else
just
you'd
want to
like
know
to
where
say?
the corn is. Randy didn't bring, he always brings corn. Isn't your corn ready?
Next time, the corn's not quite ready.
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we close public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved by Kirkman, seconded by Selman to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is closed.
I think it's great.
I think it's great that she's found a location quickly.
Yeah, me too. So if there's no discussion, I'll move to approve the project as stated on the screen for approval with recommended conditions of approval and proposed findings.
Second.
Second.
Come on, Matt, keep up.
It's been moved by Selman, seconded by Morgan to approve this item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
This CUP will become effective 15 calendar days from the date the written decision and reason statement is provided to the applicant unless an appeal has been filed with the Planning and Zoning Department with the appropriate fee. No action should be taken on this CUP until the appeal period is concluded. The applicant must confirm with the Planning and Zoning staff that there have been no appeals. Thank you. We're excited for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Crystal.
Found a better spot.
Thank you, guys.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
It's been moved by Selman, seconded by Kehoe that we adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Any opposed?
I was gonna say aye, but
Meeting is adjourned.
just to see what reaction y'all would